So, good morning, class. So, I am here to discuss the Boston Consulting Group model or the BCG. So, BCG Group model is the Boston Consulting Group growth share paradigm started to make its impact on corporate strategy in the early 1970s. So, mainly, most of the companies are actually adopting this model to their company. This model was developed by Bruce Henderson of the Boston Consulting Group in 1970s. This model classifies the products or service units of an organization in terms of two parameters, that is market share and market growth. So the consideration for Boston Consulting Group is the market share and the market growth. When we're talking about the market share, it is the relative sales percentage of the company in relation to the total sales percentage of the market in consideration. This metric value gives a general idea of how the company stands with respect to the market and its competitors. Okay, this is like the pie when I discussed that in our earlier discussion. It's like a pie where the company having their share with the pie. For example, the pie consists of 100%. So the company, how many percentage that the company has their share in the market? For example, Colgate and Palmolive. So when it comes to their toothpaste, so example is their market share for Colgate as their one of their product is 20% of the market share. When we're talking about market growth, this refers to an increase in demand over time. So it may be high or low. So here, when we're talking about how the company grow its market, it may be high or low. So the BCG model illustrates four broad categories in relations to market share, whether it is a low or high, and market growth. We will classify that as low or high. And these four quadrants composed of stars, cash cows, question marks, and dogs. Let's go first with stars. When we're talking about stars, a high market share in a high market growth defines stars. They are market leaders, and if the market continues to grow, they are likely to become cash cow. So, pag ang kanilang product of a company is classified into a stars quadrant, so ibig sabihin, that product is a market leader and that market will continue to grow. And if it grows, so they likely to become a cash cow. So our next quadrant. When we're talking about cash cows, a high market share in a low market growth. They are market leaders in mature market growth, establishing a competitive advantage that can generate a lot of cash flow and bring high profit margins. So, ibig sabihin, kapag dito naka-classify ang isang product of a company sa cash cows, this is a very good investment to the company because their product is market leaders in a mature market growth. And this product is giving the company a competitive advantage compared to their competitors. And of course, if these products ay nasa classification of cash cows, so this is a good investment to the company because it generates a lot of cash flow. So pag madaming cash flow sa company, ibig sabihin, it has a high profit margin, a high income to the company. So when we're talking about question marks in the third quadrant, it defines as a low market share in a high market growth. These essentially new products need promotional strategies. Example that a company develop a new product. So, itong new product na ito ay need more promotional strategies or marketing strategies. Okay, kasi they have a low market share pa in a high market growth. And the fourth quadrant is classified as dogs. So, a low market share in a low market growth, as we define dogs quadrant. They should essentially be minimized, if not avoided. They can be expensive to the company. Why? Because pag dito na-classify ang product sa dogs quadrant, ibig sabihin, it is an expense to the company. If you are actually offering a product that is very expensive to the company, so the company should what do you call this, should decide whether the product will be continuous, or if it continue, it needs an intensive research about that product. Okay, so those are the quadrants. And here in the illustrations, pag sinabi nating stars, we have a high market growth rate, high relative market share. Cash cow pertains to a low market growth rate and high relative market share. When we talk about question marks, a high market growth rate and the low relative market share. And at the dogs quadrant, that is low market growth rate, low relative market share. So here, in the y-axis, that is the market growth rate. In the x-axis is the relative market share. So makaklasify nyo ang product ng isang company through this quadrant. And to give you the best example that I can provide you based on my research, ito yung example ng BCG, that is the Samsung's case study. So I will give you the link in our LMS so that you can actually have a clear picture of how BCG Matrix was used in most of the companies. So this will be the link, and I will provide this link in our LMS. Okay, so thank you so much for listening.